Everything can be offered, he says. As I do this, the responsibility. So now the question is, how do we change the mental, vital, and the physical to be molds of perfection? That's what he answers. Everything can be offered. As I do this, the responsibility for the sadhana is gradually taken out of my hands. Then there is only the mother doing it for me. How else can I wade through this virgin forest? Over time, I yearn to become one with what I surrender to. Whenever we surrender, we walk the sunlit path, not the dolorous way. It is meant to be a path of joy, love, and ease. However, for this cleaning, my vessel is necessary, and I do this by personal effort. This is the other state. Personal effort is clearly mandatory and will always remain so long as the ego is present. This is the other polarity, and it must persist until such time that the ego is effaced. One must never neglect to clean one's room. Cleaning our nature of its debris requires effort and brings the psychic influence more out into the open. What is buried by our nature needs to be unearthed, and much effort is required for the digging. Gradually a shift occurs, and we surrender even the digging to a higher force. So this is a very important thing. Very often, for no rhyme or reason, we'll see waves of nature flowing through us, pulling us down, right? Suddenly we'll start feeling inadequate or unloved or wronged or unfortunate or whatever. And sometimes you'll notice that it's not anything that's happened in the moment, it's just a thought process that kickstarts. Those are arisings of the lower nature. Now, instead of getting carried away by them, the first progress is to recognize that there's no truth in these arisings. My life is actually not bad. Actually, that person hasn't wronged me. Actually, the person is what he is. Like, how do I say, if I'm turned away from the sun and I experience darkness and I blame the sun, then in a way that's what I'm doing very often when I'm blaming people. They are shining by the light of their nature. They are being what their nature makes them be. And have you noticed that the same person is perceived so differently by different minds? I am shining in my nature. I'm giving out the kind of light my nature allows me to give. But if Adya is very turned towards the light, she'll call it beautiful. If Pratna is a little more turned away, she'll say not so nice. If someone else is fully turned away, they'll blame me and call me a horrible person. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the person is what they are, but different minds will perceive the person differently, and different minds will perceive the person differently based on their past. So it's beautifully said, every judgment is not an observation, it's a confession of your past history. How you judge me is a confession of your past, of how your conditioning is. So whenever I'm judging someone, the first thing is to realize that it's not about the person. However much my mind convinces me that it is about the person is like that, somewhere to recognize that it's from my past conditioning, it's an uprising of the lower nature from my subconscious, vital, wherever. If I recognize that, at least I'm on the right footage in the battle. Then I sit with it. I know it's not pleasant. I sit with it, but I told you this even last time, if you sit long enough with your darkness, the stars in it will show themselves. You sit with it, you offer it to Mother, and you really tell her, the prayer shouldn't be change the situation, make the person behave well, make him see he's wrong. Those are our usual ignorant prayers. The prayer is that if I am suffering, I have fallen into unconsciousness, because wherever there is ignorance, there suffering too must come. Make me conscious. Show me the truth that sets me free of that suffering. And it doesn't happen overnight, but every time you make the offering with sincerity, every time you're serious about working with your darkness rather than just suppressing them, rather than being content blaming it on the world, blaming it on people, then no growth is possible. Take away that blame and sit with yourself. It's not even about blaming yourself, it's about removing blame from the whole thing and seeing the truth behind the working of the world and working of your consciousness. Yeah? So that is what offering is. And the more you do it, the more Mother takes up the digging. The more you open to her, the more you'll see that a negative thing arises and effortlessly something else comes and takes it away.